Well, hey gang, Daryl Davis coming here to talk about designing a life worth smiling about. So I want to talk to you about your brain is programmed to want a dose. Now, what is a dose? This is an acronym that I came up with that represents the four feel-good chemicals in the brain. And it stands for dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, and endorphins. These are the chemicals that our brain makes it feel good and makes it feel happy and makes it smile. Now, I was talking to a friend of mine just yesterday, and here's what we were talking about. One of the things I've learned about the brain and doing research about designing a life worth smiling about, this project of losing weight, coaching some people that have been having challenges in their personal and business life, here's what I've come to discover, is that our brains are programmed to get a dose of these four feel-good chemicals, and it doesn't matter what it does in order to get that dose. So that's why sometimes we may do things that are destructive. We may, like for example, eating things that we shouldn't be eating, but when we eat it, we feel good because we're getting a dose of one of these chemicals. Smoking, alcohol, drugs, even complaining. Some people have trained the brain that when they're having drama or when they're struggling in their finances or struggling in their relationships, they're getting a dose of these feel-good chemicals. And so what I've learned is a couple of things. Number one is we can't trust our brain. Our brains are almost autonomous from what we want and what we're really committed to in our lives. So number one is don't listen to it because it only wants what it wants. And in a sense, it tells us to do things, even though we know we shouldn't do it. It tells us to do it because it wants a dose. And then in a sense, we're just acting out what it is telling us to do. So number one is we can't trust our brain. If we want to have a breakthrough in our lives and to reprogram our brain to get happy, to get a dose from doing other positive, productive activities, number one is not trusting what it might feel at that moment. And number two is being committed to the actions, be committed to the plan, be committed to the process of doing a certain activity. Now, if you keep doing the same activity over and over again, and it's producing the results that you want, you'll start to program your brain that this is now the new way to get a dose of those four feel-good chemicals. So anyway, I hope this helped you. Have a wonderful day. And of course, don't forget to keep smiling.